Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Consider this a cautionary tale. Once upon a time, Sebastian Telfair was the top-rated basketball player in all of New York. And you know New York knows basketball. In 2004, he was the number 13th pick in the first round of the NBA draft. He played for several teams, including the Portland Trail Blazers, Boston Celtics, Minnesota Timberwolves, Los Angeles Clippers, Cleveland Cavaliers, Phoenix Suns, Toronto Raptors, and a handful of teams overseas. Sebastian, one might say, was a journeyman. He made, according to him, tens of millions of dollars during his basketball career. And he lost it all. He lost it all. He lost it all. Tens of millions of dollars. How? There wasn't one particular incident. According to Sebastian, there was a series of incidents. He was going through a divorce that cost him a lot of money. He got busted on some joint charges, I don't even want to say drugs because it was a joint and guns. And then he got busted again for some guns. And then he and 18 former NBA players, Jamario Moon, Glenn Davis, Tony Allen, and Darius Miles, were arrested on charges alleging they defrauded the league's health and welfare benefit plan out of about $4 million. According to the indictment, the former players engaged in a widespread scheme to defraud the plan by submitting false and fraudulent claims to get reimbursed for medical and dental expenses that were never actually incurred. Sebastian pleaded guilty to charges of fraud on March 16, 2023. He was sentenced to 3 years probation. He had been ordered to report to prison in August 2025 for 6 months for failure to abide by court-ordered community service and failure to report to the U.S. Probation Office. The reason why I thought it was important to kind of give you the background is because this is not all happenstance, right? This is a lot of Sebastian's doing. It's the energy, it's the people that he's hanging around, it's the choices that he's making that puts him in these situations. Now, I gotta salute him for sharing his story in that documentary because I wouldn't have done it. I'm gonna tell you straight up, I would not have done it because, yeah, it may be a cautionary tale, but for most people, they're not gonna pay attention to that. Most people will never come into that kind of money. They'll never have that type of action. And the ball players who do come into that kind of money, they always think they're going to be playing as long as they want to play. And they always think they got another big check coming around the corner. So Sebastian is not the first and he won't be the last athlete to make big money and drive big cars and end up right back where he started in the projects or the hood or wherever. He's not going to be the last. He was not the first. He will not be the last. But perhaps it might help somebody. It might help somebody. I would say this: when you see a man fall, don't laugh because it could be you next. Yeah, it could be you next. This dude went from a life of luxury to, he came full circle. The basketball court that is outside of the building that he lives in, he and some other players, according to him, came and donated and lent their likeness to build that court. And he said, man, I never thought I'd be back here. Let's say I was in that unfortunate situation where I lost everything. I would not, under any circumstances, go back to the same spot that I started in the hood. Oh, hell no. And I am not saying I wouldn't end up back in the hood, but not that hood, not that spot. That's too much, man. That's too much. And there are going to be people that are going to be looking upside his head at every turn. If he ever gets into any type of dispute with a neighbor who ain't never left, they gonna be on his head. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what type of talk people do. But, man, dude, he got a hell of a story. He has a hell of a story. Now, it is good entertainment. I will say that. It's good entertainment because I'm watching it, and anybody else is watching this and going like, damn, man, how? Like, ain't no way I would make $30 million and end up back in the hood. But there's a lot of people who have made even more than that and ended up back in the hood. And here's the thing, though. As long as you're breathing, you got action. As long as you're breathing, you got action. He's back in the hood now, but depending on how bad he wants it, he could rise again. He has an advantage that most people that still live in the hood ain't never left doesn't have. And that is his experience, his connections. He knows a lot of people who got a lot of money. And because he does have a brand, even though that brand might be tarnished, he has a brand, and he's still, just like he went and did that documentary, somebody wanted to do a documentary on him and pay him some money to do that documentary, somebody will give him some money to endorse this thing or that thing, or somebody, a fan, will want to go in business with him and say, you know what, man, I'm in business with my childhood hero, or I'm in business with, you know, such and such who used to play for the Timberwolves or play for this team or that team or that team, you know, former NBA player. So he could actually use his brand and parlay it into a series of opportunities if he's willing to put himself out there like that. I'll tell you what would be a slam dunk for him off the rip. If he was to reach out to one of those NBA or even football or baseball liaisons, you know, when those youngsters start making transitions from college or high school to the pros, they take these courses where they warn them of the trappings of success, especially for a young athlete. He could walk into that locker room and have a major impact on those young players. Straight up, hey man, I've been there, done that. I was just like y'all. Boy, when I got my hands on that money, I just started spending and buying all this stuff. And these are the mistakes I made. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what to look out for. You dig? Salute to Sebastian, man. I hope that he finds his way. He seems to be happy, you know. He still has his smile. He hasn't lost that smile. And it seems like to me that if he continues to have a positive attitude, things will work out for him. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.